Hey y'all, it's Papa Boko here to deliver a tarot energy reading and a sidereal forecast for the remainder of August 2022, but also this message is timeless. So I pulled two major arcanas. The first is the Empress, and the second is the Star. I'm using the Tazama African Tarot, which I would recommend everyone go purchase because if you're black or from the diaspora, because these cards are really, really rich and deep. So I want to start off with the Empress, and this is a great um, card to be having as we leave these Cancer transits. Now, Venus is still in sidereal Cancer, so the transit doesn't end until. So that's the only planet still in Cancer, giving us and really connecting us to each other through the body needs, right? Through the needs of our condition of survival as human beings. We need body, or we need food, we need shelter, and we need relationships. And so uh, the sun took its focus away from there, is now in its own sign of Leo. But what are the lessons that we've learned through the Cancer transit, which was which personally was a really long transit because, the sun stays in a sign for about, 30 days, 20, a month or so. And so for this month to have felt so long, with no air in the sky, with no with only earth, you know what I mean, creating this, um, supporting water in this way, we really didn't have an opportunity to escape our body, this association that we're used to, right? Which is why talking about the body may seem confusing, or may seem, what do you mean by that? And it's like a literal thing, right? The Empress is also literal. And let me say this about the way that tarot has been kind of uh, co-opted, right, by capitalist ideology. Empress is not about manifesting what you want. It's not about, living in luxury at the expense of other people's labor and other people's exploitation. Experiencing luxury is being, and especially in this world, is being able to connect with your senses, to connect with your hearing that is your own, to hear and listen what it is that you want to bring you joy, etc. Right? It's about sensations that you feel in your body, sexual, either by on your own or by or with somebody else. But it could also mean, how are you savoring some of the food that you are enjoying? How are you, sitting in a bath longer than you feel like you need to, so that you can really feel water, right? We think that the spiritual stuff is something that's inaccessible, and it's been taught that way on purpose, right? Gatekeepers, which are these Christian missionaries, right? These people who are coming forth with an ideology that is supposed to enslave you, aren't really going to let you connect with your body, aren't really going to teach you to experience the senses. And so, and what that does is that detaches you from the spiritual world, because that's all that it is, right? It's feeling, it's connecting. Your body is the conduit, regardless of regardless of what you may feel like is true or not true for you, right? So the Empress is calling for us as a collective, right, to reconnect with the body, right? And with the star, right, in this combination, it's really talking to us about healing our relationship with our body. And this is where sidereal Cancer was really important. I would look back, I think July 16th was when the Sun and Mercury had entered Cancer. Those were the first planets to enter Cancer. And so those really amped up our conversations and put our complete focus uh, on our body, on food, shelter, on our relationships to other people, and how that makes us how that helps us survive. But also mothering, and mothering in a way where who comes to your aid when you need something, who is there for you when you need, right? And think about how your experience with your own mother or parent or caretaker who mothered you, because it's an action, it's a, it's not necessarily an identity or a gender tied role, right? So how has your experience of mothering, someone who is supposed to attend to your needs, who is supposed to anticipate these things, as someone who has already experienced life more than you, how has that relationship really affected the way that you depend on other people or feel like you need to depend on other people? And really, how does that also build that relationship with your body? When something in your senses tells you something is wrong, do you listen to it? Because where you listened to when you felt like you said something or felt something was wrong, and was that denied? That's really this loop that cancer has helped us hopefully identify. And the Empress, again, is calling to us to really talk about what it means to reclaim that for yourself. What does it mean for you to be able to say and even identify that you are in need of something? And then once you identify that need, how do you go out and seek easing that need, or grabbing it, getting it, whatever that is? And sometimes even understanding that the need is there, but there are no resources available to fulfill that need. And so how do you manage and deal with that without getting down a rabbit hole that puts you in a place of inaction or feeling powerless, right? That's really where you don't want to go. And so the star also comes in and talks to us about the process of healing, right? And I don't want people to take that, ambiguously. Healing meaning, how do you identify a wound, right? How do you, and using some sidereal astrology language, how do you identify the wound? How do you manage the coping strategy that you use to attend to that wound? And then how do you access the gift that this tension has brought forth for you? You know what I mean? So that's something that the star is really asking for you to do in this moment. So with your body and your connection with your body and your connection with the way you feel like you've been mothered, or your experience with mother, how has all of those things really allowed, and thinking about this, right, in the context, yes, of your own personal individual situation, but you are part of we're all part of a collective. You are part of a collective. And so you have to think that your specific circumstance is not in a vacuum. It's not devoid of the context of the greater picture of the world. And so that's also what I really want you all to get out of this thing, is that we are all experiencing this connection with the body, this new connection with the body. Again, with healthcare being exposed as a for-profit endeavor, right? That the government, the United States government, which is run by capitalists, which are people who own the means of production. And what that means is that they're the ones who own the factories, the office buildings, the real estate, everything that needs to that can survive needs to be approved by them. That is how they're controlling your body. Okay, they're controlling your food and they're controlling your shelter. So if you don't realize or connect with your body in a different way, and again, I really want to say this in like contextually, we don't even have that ability to do that. If my parents weren't able to develop those abilities, and there's no way they were going to pass that down to them. And it's not their fault that they don't have it. It's the fault of the bigger structure that is actively preventing that from happening. So how have you, as you're experiencing life right now and seeing that the way that the government is giving you misinformation, is not prioritizing your health, is prioritizing the economy, is which in which you don't get any benefit from, right? But they need you to create the economy. How does that really get you to see that what your body does and doesn't do is being controlled? And then when you remove that control, when you heal from the that initial shock, what do you do about it? And how do you use this information to make better and more informed decisions for yourself, for your body, which at the end of the day is your life? Okay, so I hope that was helpful for folks. I think um, with the Sidereal Astrology Guide, there's a couple of transits that I can talk us through very briefly. Mercury is going to enter Virgo, is going to be there for a long time. So that basically means, right, that we have to be aware of it's going to be opposing Jupiter and Pisces. So two planets in their own sign, which means that they don't answer to anybody. The command is the planet. The planet commands the situation and controls the outcome. They're going to be in an opposition in earth and water, which means that one is affecting the other and the other one is being affected. So how do you discern information, right, that you may not have all of the semantic details of, but what can you infer based off of the information and off of the context in which something is being given to you? And also, how do you develop suspicion, healthy suspicion against information that does not give you the details that you feel like it needs to give, of the things that it's not saying and not acknowledging? So thinking through that's going to be the conversations that we're having, that's going to be what's amplified within your life. And for the people who know their chart in your Virgo house, that's going to be illuminated and going to be worked out. So thinking through where do you have sidereal Virgo in your chart, and thinking that those topics that are in that house are going to be amplified and be in conversation. So that's something that you should be aware of. And finally, new moon in Leo, and Venus is going to enter Leo towards the end of the month. And so that's really going to highlight our perspective and how we perceive the world, and how our identity is what shapes the way that we view our experience and the way we want to impact our relationship. So thinking through, especially in your Leo house, where are you being influential, where are you being impactful, and where do you feel like people are influencing you and impacting you, and not to say that you need to not be impacted and not be any of those things. It's saying who is doing it and to what end, and how have you been able to take control of how your body is being affected and therefore manipulated to things that may not be good for you. So I hope that was helpful for folks. I don't know if I said this in the beginning, but I'm using the Tazama African Tarot deck, which I recommend everyone who is Black and or of the diaspora, Black and of the diaspora, to get, because they're actually really rich and deep. So couple of announcements for my folks who are local to Philly. I will be doing some in-person readings at events for Get Fresh Daily at Get Fresh Daily. Those things haven't been announced yet, but just wanted to give you all the heads up if you're local or in Philly that there will be at most 3 chances to gather a in-person reading with me. And also, a tarot workshop is coming, so be on the lookout for that. That is in the works, and it will be coming, and it will be digital as well. So thanks for listening, and thanks for being here. Peace.